Thought I'd do a little update on my reef tank here, and I'll start off with the maintenance, I guess, water change area that I use. The container on the far left is just spare RO water that I use for supplements and whatnot. Just having spare on board for whatever. This is reef crystals. I got a little scoop in there to mix salt water. Right here is a 35-gallon tank that houses fresh salt water, and I use this in conjunction with the Apex dose, which I really like. With that, it also works in tandem with the PM2, which controls heating and monitors the salinity. And the heating is important, I guess, I've been reading, and I have seen it where it really fouls the readings if the temperature is low or whatever, so I keep this temperature the same as the tank water. And then, of course, if I see the I try to keep it around 35, of course, 34. So when I see it around 30, I just put a couple scoops in here, and it mixes up. I have two internal pumps that are mixing the water at all times. So with the dose, one thing I've noted, I keep a couple spare cartridges. I've never had to change them yet. This is a new pump as of like November. They say, and I've heard a few friends online that say that they last about 9-10 months, so thought I'd have the spares just in case I got caught, you know, with a breakdown, and then I'd have to wait for the ones to come in. This pump is connected to the saltwater tank, and it's plumbed right to the sump. It is for water changes, which I'll speak a little more on later, because the exhaust valve, I guess you'd call it, is on the manifold of the main pump. Up here I got the RO water that manifolds into two solenoids. The one solenoid that is on the right is for when the pH is above 8.4. It'll just top off water with normal fresh water, and then the one on the left is when the pH is below 8.4, it will go through a lime reactor, or Kalkwasser reactor, I guess you'd call it, and it replenishes with lime water with mixed calcium hydroxide. And here's my supplement area. I keep some on stock. Start off with the GFO. I got a reactor, a BRS reactor in there that's I change it maybe every 45 days. Doesn't kind of just takes the edge off phosphate, I think. The carbon is the 0.8. I really like it. You don't have to rinse it. Polishes the water pretty nicely. This is where I get my GFO material now. I don't know if you can see the website there, GFOphosphateremoval.com. They sell it in bulk. I think I got it on eBay maybe. Seems to work well. And then the supplements I use, the sodium bicarbonate. I use just a little bit to kind of keep the KH stable, the alkalinity. And of course magnesium, calcium, and alkalinity, which I use probably about a half gallon a day, a dose in there. And I measure it out in weight and then mix it that way. The soda lime here is media that I use for a CO2 scrubber that I was kind of experimenting with, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Here it's kind of a mothballed chiller system that I built. There's the I guess the coils down there. I don't use it, never had a need for it yet. It's there if I need it. It's kind of another eBay sale. I got it from a Walmart auction type thing. They were getting rid of their fish display, and this chiller setup was there. It had 3 of them. There's another one there if anybody wants one. They work well, but I don't use it. Anyway, moving on, I'll go over here to the next project I'm working on. This is the hood, which is going to be kind of my lighting upgrade. It's going to be the I've got 4 Ecotechs on my tank now, but I'm going to be going to 6. I was never satisfied with the spread of light that I have in my tank. It's 36 inches wide, so it just doesn't fill the tank. So I decided to kind of spread it out, and then plus T5s along with LEDs seem to be very effective. So I'm going to add to that too. So I've got one Hamilton display, fixture that's going to go in there with two 54 watts, and the other one is going to be a 3. As you see over here, it's just a DIY setup. Kind of got a deal on it on eBay. Somebody was selling it, so took some mirrored acrylic, glued it in the back for the reflector, and then just kind of, you know, did that. It'll kind of, these little tongues, as you see here, will fit in these hooves right there, I guess you'd call them, and then that way I'm able to remove the fixture through the sides here. There'll be doors on that, and then I can change bulbs and whatnot. So, and this will go right next to the cabinet here, and it'll be held up by some aluminum extrusions, so it'll make more sense when I take pictures of it later. Here in the inner workings of the tank, I got the eco ballasts, I guess you call them, drivers, and there's the 2 new ones. It'll be for the upgrade here when I do it. And I got 5 Tunzi pumps, which are hooked into the apex, and a PM2, and then a breakout for the float switch that's in the sump. Down here we got the lime water reactor I was talking about from the Vast. Works real well, never had any problems, never leaked or anything like this. There's the Zeo reactor I use. It's the vibrating type. Works well, very good company, stand behind their product. I did have a problem with the lid. The lid actually just, they had the plumbing fittings just threaded into the acrylic, and the acrylic was threaded. I had one crack actually, so I had a mess. You know, they sent me a new lid. They were great about it, but I decided to build a little beefier lid. I actually used the bulkheads, as you see there, along with a thicker acrylic that's 1/2 inch. So haven't had any problems since, so it works out pretty good. It's kind of a hacked plumbing system. I'm not the best plumber in the world, but it seems to be working, so I like using PEX. It's very easy to work with. Right here, this little bottle is the Zeo Food 3 that you are to add, you know, a few milliliters a day depending on the size of your tank. I was reading on the ZeoVit site that you can mix this in proportion 1 to 9 or 1 to 19, whatever you choose to do. I did 1 to 9. So that way you can just hook it up to a dosing pump and dose it every day. It's basically vinegar, I think is what it is. It seems to be. It smells like it anyway. But anyway, moving on to well, my jugs here. I'm going to change this around too. It's a little bit hacked, as you see. I use magnesium alkalinity there, sodium bicarbonate, just a little bit, like 10 milliliter a day, just enough to keep the alkalinity stable, it seems like, and calcium. And as I was talking before about that water change, this valve here actually is used to, it dumps it straight down into the sewer. So if I need to do a larger water change, which I do upon the change out of the ZeoVit media. It seems like when I change out the ZeoVit media, in my experience, I could be doing something wrong, who knows, but I get a little bit of a spike of phosphate, nitrate, and then it seems to come down over about a week period. So what I've been doing is just changing the water upon the change out of the media, and it seems to kind of help there. So that's what I've been doing there. I don't know if I already spoke of this, but the GFO is what I use there. Don't change it very often. Carbon, it's the ROX 0.8. Change that about once a month is what I've been averaging. Moving on here. Going here to these are the CO2 scrubbers. I got them from BRS. As you see, the media inside is that soda lime. You can get it from like an anesthesiology, website. It's a medical thing. I got a bunch from there. It's not expensive, but it's like 20 bucks for 2 or 3 pounds. It's supposed to turn pink or purple when it's exhausted. I've had this in there about 2 months, and as you see, if you can see with this camera, it's vaguely pink, not much. I don't think it makes a big difference. Might make some, but it was a problem I was fighting with pH, so I thought maybe it's CO2 problem, so that's what I tried. So anyway, my refugium, the lights come on at night, late at night for about 4 or 5 hours. In the Zeo system, it's kind of dying off. because the nutrients are so low. So I don't think it's really having any effect on the reef as far as I can see. And the skimmer, I use two 9012 Tunsies. I like them a lot. They're very reliable skimmer, low power consumption, and they're easy to maintain, very easy to maintain. And I don't know if you can see it, but I got some media bags down there, and what I'm doing there is the Zeovit. They're like solid blocks, and they're a time release supplement. I use the potassium iodide, the potassium, the iron, and the amino acids for supplementation. You change them out, like they say, every 90 days. I test potassium in that maybe once a month just to see where it's at. It seems to be fine. That there little PEX fitting mess you see there is the chiller manifold, which goes out to the garage where I have my other stuff. I don't use it, it's just there just in case. I don't know, maybe one day when the sun gets too close or something I'll have to use it, so I just left it there. The lights, like I said, they're a little pretty hokey right now, but I'll clean this up in a bit. It's the 4 Eco Marines. I got them running at 65%, and I use the Reef Link. I was using the Apex, but I had problems because it kept losing the lights. They'd get a communication loss or something, and there was no rhyme or reason why it was happening. So it happened a few times, not a whole bunch, but I just got tired of it, so I just went back to the Reef Link. I like it a lot better too. It has that thunderstorm thing, which my kids like a lot, so I like it a lot better. These are the supplements that I've found to be effective with the Zeo system. I've used all of them, and the Zeo 3, of course, the one on the left, is the one I talked about where you mix it in proportion with the RO water. That you have to use. The Zeo Spur 2 is something you add like every 7 days. It's kind of a mix of many supplements and micronutrients. You add it like I said, once a week. I haven't seen a big notice of difference, but I put it in anyway. It seems to be doing good. The Zeo 7, of course, you have to do. Zeo Back, you have to do. Oral Vitalizer, I really see a difference. I think that's a good supplement. And Stylo, I got a lot of Stylo in my tank, so I add that. I think it helps. And the Biomate, I think that helps too. I can't pinpoint a difference or nothing, but it just seems to do well. Anyway, that's my update. Thanks for watching.